What's up and welcome to Me, You, and Switch 2. I am me, Tom Tate, and you are you, so let's talk about Switch 2. This is the latest and greatest Nintendo Switch 2 news brought to you every Tuesday and Friday in snackable 5 to 10 minute episodes. Today happens to be Tuesday. It is July 14th. It is 8:07 a.m. on the East Coast, and this is episode 117. There's not a ton to cover today. So this might actually be one of those rare episodes that are under 5 minutes. So let's see how we do. There's, first up, there's a new hardware rumor that I stumbled upon. A couple of outlets reported this, but it was originated from ZDNet Korea, and they shared that Nintendo is considering an OLED display, presumably for a future Switch 2 variants. And here's the blurb from Nintendo Life. They wrote, reporter Lee Ki-jong has shared information from 3 separate industry sources about this supposed hardware update, which could apparently go into development this year and follow with mass production as early as the end of 2027 or the beginning of 2028. So again, this is just a rumor, but if this is true, Nintendo is really, in my opinion, placing a big bet that RAM and storage prices will come down or stabilize by the end of 2027, or they're sitting on a lot of hardware from before the increases. And that might line up. I've been trying to read up on when the industry thinks that the pricing will stabilize. A lot of folks think that the pricing will never come back down to Rampocalypse or whatever you want to call it, Ramageddon, to pre-prices. But, around 2027, beginning of 2028, they might stabilize. So I think that might add some of the predictability. And maybe by then we've gotten used to paying a ridiculous amount of money for all of our things. I would say that we should expect the Switch 2 OLED to be very expensive. I personally had thought that Nintendo could would fast track a Switch 2 Lite just to get a cheaper SKU on the shelves after they raise the price of the Switch 2 this fall. So again, the Switch 2 price will go up $50. And I had thought that maybe in 2027 we'll see a Switch Lite just to see if they could get a more accessible, more affordable console on the market so that more people can enter into the Switch 2 ecosystem. We'll see. Again, this rumor is interesting just because the horizon is so far. I mean, production in the beginning of 2028 might not mean we see it until mid or end of 2028, which is quite a ways away. Square Enix just announced that Octopath Traveler and Octopath Traveler 2 will release on Switch 2 on October 1st. Unfortunately, this release, I'm really bummed about this. This release follows a similar pattern to the recent Final Fantasy X and X-2 release. There's no upgrade path for Switch 1 owners, and there's no way to migrate your saves over. So Final Fantasy X and X-2, Octopath 1, Octopath 2, they all exist on Switch 1. I mean, that's where they originated. I'm guessing that there's probably a technical reason here that was a bit more costly, doable, but costly. But it's still a bit disappointing as someone who owns both the Final Fantasy X collection and Octopath 2, which I have not started yet. I have the Switch 1 edition and I have not played it. So it's just been sitting in my backlog. So it's unfortunate. Octopath as a series is turning 8, so a bit of a milestone, I guess. The games will be available digitally and physically as separate titles and together as a bundle digitally. The Switch 2 editions will cost $59.99 individually and $74.99 as a bundle. So the bundle is a pretty good deal. This is just some pricing that I read. I think Polygon reported that. And then just a few very minor headlines. The game Mouse PI for Hire, which was that first-person shooter in the old Steamboat Willie style animation, that now has a physical release that is available for $59.99. The full game is on the cartridge. Disgaea Mayhem, which launches on July 23rd, has a new demo in the Nintendo eShop if you want to check that out before release. And finally, big news. Outright Games has confirmed that Paw Patrol Dino World will get a Switch 2 edition. Again, this is big news for Paw Patrol fans everywhere. You're mostly going to get visual upgrades, but it will also support a game share if you want to play with a friend. But of course, these games also have local co-ops, so you don't even need game share if you have a friend sitting on the couch next to you. Okay, that's going to do it for today. again, kind of a light weekend for news, which is fine by me. I'm just getting back into the swing of things from vacation, but I'm super excited to be back in front of a real computer with a real microphone. As always, I will keep tabs on the news. I will be back on Friday with the latest and greatest. A kind rating or review helps me continue to grow the show, and more importantly, it helps other people discover the show. Again, just a positive review really helps people want to try it out, right? And want to see what it's all about. You can go to switch2pod.com for all the things, patreon.com/switch2pod for some bonus audio, more coming probably this week. I think I'll get to the next episode this week. I hope that you have a great week. Much love. Now go play some games.